Hey, welcome to the Foodie's Paradise. Today I'll be teaching you how to make stuffed garlic bread at home. Look at how beautiful this looks, almost as if it was baked by some professional baker. But don't be fooled, it's not as difficult as it seems. I'll be taking you through the recipe step by step, so without wasting any more time, let's get started. To make bread, you need dough, and to make a good dough, you need a good starter. In a mug, take 1.5 tablespoons of dry active yeast. I make my starter in a mug simply because the chances of the starter overflowing the mug are less. Some people make their starter in a bowl. I'm just not that adventurous. Add 1 tablespoon of natural honey. In case you don't have honey, you can also use sugar. Now add 1 cup lukewarm water into the mug. Mix it up well, ensuring that there are no lumps left behind. Yeast helps in fermenting the dough. When you add dry active yeast in lukewarm water, it wakes up and starts multiplying. Honey and sugar or the starch present in the dough act like food for yeast and help in speeding up the process. Our starter is ready. Let's keep it aside for 10 minutes for the yeast to wake up. It's been 10 minutes and you can see that the yeast has risen up to the brim of the mug. Imagine if we had done this in a bowl. Okay, it's time to prepare the dough. Let's keep the mug aside and take about 4 cups of all-purpose flour in a mixing bowl. Stir the yeast with a spoon one last time before adding it into the mixing bowl. Now add 1.5 tablespoons of salt and start combining everything into a soft dough. To this, add approximately half a cup of water. Remember, we want the dough to be soft and not stiff, but at the same time we don't want the dough to become too watery. So in my advice, add just a little water at a time and add more only if you feel it needs more. Our dough is now coming up together. It's time to take it out of the bowl onto a kneading surface. For this, I use a kneading mat because it's much less messy this way. And you don't really have to worry about cleaning the kitchen table later because cleaning the kneading mat is super easy. Check it out in the link mentioned in the description below. If you feel that the dough is getting stuck to the kneading surface, just sprinkle some flour and you should be good to go. It's been 5 minutes since I started kneading. I'm going to transfer the dough back into the mixing bowl and we will leave it to proof for the next couple of hours. Pour about 1 tablespoon of olive oil into the mixing bowl. Transfer the dough into the bowl and make sure it's coated with the olive oil properly. Now using a damp cloth, cover the dough and leave it to ferment for about 2 hours. While the dough is resting, let's move on to make our filling. More than the filling, the dough is important in this recipe. You can make any filling of your choice. If you're a vegetarian, you can use paneer bhurji or a dry mixed veg masala or something like the filling you use in samosas. If you're a non-vegetarian, you can go for keema, egg roast, boneless chicken roast, etc. Here I'm making 2 types of fillings with vegetables I could find in the fridge. Heat a tablespoon of olive oil in a pan. To this, add about 8 to 10 finely chopped garlic. As the garlic starts browning, add thinly sliced 2 medium-sized onions. Let the onions get roasted for about 3 to 4 minutes. You can also add just a little salt to help the onions sweat well. Now to this, add 2 roughly diced tomatoes. Our tomatoes have now cooked well. It's time to add the spices. Add salt as required. Add a quarter teaspoon of turmeric powder. Add a tablespoon of chili powder. Add a tablespoon of coriander powder. Add a teaspoon of black pepper powder. Now leave it to roast on a low flame for about 3 to 4 minutes. Okay, so it's been over 4 minutes and our spices are roasted. It's time to add some mushrooms. I'm adding about 50 grams of button mushrooms. Mix it well and cook it for about 2 minutes, or as long as it takes to get rid of its rawness. Once the mushrooms have cooked, you can add some broccoli or any other vegetable of your choice. Like I mentioned earlier, the filling could be anything you want it to be. Pour about half a cup of water so that the broccoli gets cooked well. Finally, add some bell pepper or capsicum and let it cook for another 2 to 3 minutes. Our filling is ready. Let's take it out in a bowl. I'm now going to fry about 20 grams of paneer and add it to our filling. Just fry the paneer very lightly, you don't have to wait till they turn brown. Okay, so our filling is now ready. Let's go back and check out our dough. Look at this, our dough had about 2 hours to proof and it has nearly doubled in size. Just punch it lightly to deflate the air pockets. Okay, so now it's time to take it out of the mixing bowl and knead it one more time. I'm going to use once again my trusted kneading mat. It's really a lifesaver if you don't really have a lot of time to clean the kitchen counter. And it's also, very convenient if you don't really want to waste a lot of time cleaning later. Before you drop the dough onto the kneading mat, sprinkle some flour on the mat to make it easier to work with the dough. Okay, so finally our dough is ready. I'm going to divide it into 4 equal parts. The king of this recipe is the dough. The filling could be anything of your choice, as I mentioned earlier. And just to let you know, this is the same dough that is used to make pizza base. So if you know how to make this dough, you already know 50% of how to make a pizza. In this video today, apart from showing you how to make the braided stuffed bread, I will also show you how to make calzones. Calzones are basically Italian oven-baked stuffed bread, but we will be making it in our own style. Now using a rolling pin, roll the dough into an 8-inch wide circle. And don't worry if you're not able to form a perfect circle, it's all fine. Look at this, doesn't this look like a pizza base? This is in fact technically a pizza base. Take some melted butter in a bowl and to this add about 8 to 10 finely chopped garlic. To this add about a tablespoon of dried parsley or finely chopped coriander leaves. Mix it up nicely. This is going to give your bread that garlicky flavor. Spread it on the dough, leaving just about an inch on the edges. Now here in a bowl, I have taken half of the filling we prepared earlier. To this, I'm going to add the paneer we fried. Now spread half of this filling on one side of the base. I'm going to top it up with some grated mozzarella cheese. You can go for your choice of cheese. Now fold the base over the filling. If you need, you can stretch it a little to match the edges. Also, before you fold the base, you may want to dab the edges with a little bit of water to make the edges more sticky. Our calzone is ready to be baked. Preheat the oven at 180 degrees Celsius for about 15 minutes. Sprinkle some flour on the baking tray. You can also use a parchment paper if you want. Now carefully pick up the calzone. Be very careful while you're doing this. Place it gently on the baking tray. Now, using a knife, mark some lines on the calzone. This is done because steam develops inside the calzone while it's in the oven. Since we are placing these gentle marks on it, the steam will find it easier to escape through them instead of escaping from the center of the bread, leaving behind a hole on it. Now cover the top of the bread with a thick layer of our garlic butter mix. Finally, our calzone is ready to be baked. Bake it at 180 degrees Celsius for 15 minutes. So that's our calzone out of the oven. Look at how beautiful it looks. I took it out of the oven after about 7 minutes to give it an egg wash. But that's completely optional. You can skip that if you don't want to. I'm going to cut it into half just to show you how it looks from the inside. But remember, you keep your bread to cool off for at least 15 minutes before you can cut and serve it. That's because right off the oven, your bread would be a little stiff and it would need some time to cool off and become soft and spongy. Look at how beautiful it looks from the inside as well. Another thing you need to keep in mind is to not overstuff your bread. Trust me, you probably think that more fillings would make your bread tastier. That's absolutely not true. You don't want your stuffings to overpower the bread when it comes to the overall taste profile of the bread. Okay, I hope you like the calzones. Now let's move on to prepare the stuffings for our braided bread. Heat a little olive oil in a pan and to this add diced boneless chicken pieces. I had divided the fillings into 2 equal parts. Half of it was used to make calzones. Paneer was added to that half. I'm going to cook these chicken pieces and add them to the remaining half. Add salt to taste. Add about a tablespoon of red chili flakes. And finally add half a teaspoon of black pepper powder. Mix it all well and let it cook for about 5 to 6 minutes. Okay, so our chicken is ready. You can mix it with our fillings that we had already prepared. Moving back to our dough once again, I'm going to sprinkle some flours to make it easier to work with. Now spread it into a little circle using your fingers. Now using a rolling pin, give it an oblong shape. As before, spread some garlic butter on the base, but this time around, place the filling lining the diameter of the base. Now cut both sides of the base into equal number of strips. Now using these strips, cover the filling to give your bread a braided look. Here I am dabbing the edges of the strips with water to ensure that it sticks to the bread. Now gently shift it onto your baking tray and layer it with the garlic butter mix. As before, bake it for 15 minutes at 180 degrees Celsius. The bread has been in the oven for about 7 minutes. I took it out to give it an egg wash. Just crack an egg in a bowl and spread it evenly on the bread. This will give your bread that fresh sheen. Alright, now let's put it back in the oven for about another 7 to 8 minutes. So that's how simple it is to make stuffed garlic bread. If you have any doubts, please let me know. I'll be happy to help. If you like this recipe, please like the video, subscribe to my channel and hit the bell button to be notified every time we upload a new recipe.